Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a great day. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to another segment of Live Album Spotlight. Now, the album I'm going to be talking about today is the latest release from Steve Hackett called The Lamb Stands Up, live at the Royal Albert Hall. Released on July 11th, 2025 through Inside Out Music, Steve Hackett's longtime label. Now, the music for this release was believed to have been recorded on October 23rd, 2024. The music was mixed by Chris Lord Alge. The album was produced by Ben Fenner and longtime collaborator of Steve Hackett's Roger King, who also performs keyboards in his band. Now, this release follows in the footsteps of Genesis Revisited Live, Seconds Out, and More, which was released in 2022. Now, like Genesis Revisited Live, um, the Lamb Stands Up focuses on classic Genesis material. In this case, a good amount of the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway release. Now, performing with Steve Hackett on this tour, you have a group of musicians that have been performing with Steve Hackett for quite a while, and they are Jonas Reingold on bass, guitar, and vocals, Craig Blundell, fantastic drummer on drums, Roger King on keyboards, Rob Townsend on saxophone, woodwind, keyboards, percussion, and vocals, Nad Sylvan, who does a fantastic job on vocals for this performance. And you have four guest appearances. You have Steve Hackett's brother John on flute, from Marillion Steve Rothery on guitar, Amanda Lehman on guitar and vocals, and Ray Wilson, ex-vocalist of Genesis, performing vocals for one track. Now, this comes in a variety of formats. You have the 2 CD Blu-ray Digipack format, which I have, and it also comes in a Forerunner LP release. Now, there are 24 tracks on this release, 12 tracks on disc one, 12 tracks on disc two, and there is a slight variation on the CD release to the Blu-ray release in terms of the track sequence, but not too much. Now, again, 24 tracks in total, just over 2 hours of a performance. Fantastic performance. The album starts off with three tracks from Steve Hackett's most recent studio release, Circus and the Night Whale, and those tracks being People of the Smoke, Circo Inferno, and These Passing Clouds. Brilliantly done, masterfully done, beautiful. Then he delves back into his catalog with a couple of some songs from Voyage of the Alkalite. The Devil's Cathedral is a fantastic performance of that track. Up next, you have Every Day at 6 minutes and 37 seconds. Then you have, again, with Voyage of the Alkalite, Hands of the Priestess and A Tower Struck Down. Both are done wonderfully. You can tell that the band, who had taken this performance through Europe and places like Spain and Italy, you can tell that they're just having a great time on stage. You know, after A Tower Struck Down, you have a piece called Low Notes and High Hopes, featuring a wonderful bass solo from Jonas Reingold at 3 minutes and 16 seconds. Then it comes up next, sorry, is a track called Camino Royale at 10 minutes and 11 seconds. And he revisits Voyage of the Alkalite again with a wonderful, powerful performance of Shadow of the Hierophant. And that's when Steve's brother John Hackett comes out and does a performance on flute. Now, this performance is so strong and so powerful that when the performance is over, the audience gives him a standing ovation, and it is just wonderful. He then announces that the band are going to take a 25-minute break and they're going to come out and perform The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Now, they perform 9 songs out of the entire album. And I gotta tell you, when I read the title of the album, The Lamb Stands Up, live at the Royal Albert Hall, I honestly believed that they would be doing the entire album of The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. But I do believe that they picked the best songs for this performance from the album The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. And it starts off obviously with the title track. Beautifully done. Wonderful vocals from Nat Sylvan. I swear to God, guys, I'm watching this and I'm thinking that, I'm listening to Peter Gabriel. He comes that close to it, in my very humble opinion. Then it segues into Fly on a Windshield. Okay. Beautifully done. And Steve Rothery of Marillion comes out to do a guest guitar solo. What I like about this performance is that between he and Steve Hackett, the two Steves trade off doing the solo. They do a little bit here and there, one and two, but they are so locked in with one another as to how the solo is going to go that they're just off and running, and they're enjoying it. They're enjoying it wonderfully. It's beautifully done, very meticulous, very in lock with one another, in sync with one another. Up next is Broadway Melody of 74, 2 minutes and 27 seconds. Hairless Heart is next. Wonderfully done. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And I should also mention, too, that accompanying Steve Hackett on the guitar solos and melody lines, you have Rob Townsend doing soprano sax and flute. But what I like about what he does when he accompanies Hackett is that he is twinning the melody lines on guitar. And what that does is it thickens up the sound, makes it more rich and more textured. And it beautifully done, beautifully done. After the Hairless Heart comes a classic, Carpet Crawlers. And when this is announced, the audience go ballistic. And you've got Steve Hackett interacting with the audience, introducing some songs, and basically telling them to chime in and sing along and get into it and clap along, and the audience do. Now, with Carpet Crawlers, what makes it interesting is that this song, although it was released as a single twice and bombed twice, this song live has always been a fan favorite. The audience go ballistic for it. And again, Nat Sylvan's vocals on this are just wonderful. And they do pretty much throughout the entire performance of the show stay true to the tracks as they are on the albums. Very little embellishing here and there, but the performances are powerful nonetheless. After Carpet Crawlers comes the Chamber of 32 Doors, 5 minutes and 27 seconds. Beautifully done. Wonderful. Lily White Lilith is next. 3 minutes and 6 seconds. The Lamia is up next. And then it closes off with It, 4 minutes and 40 seconds. The audience at this point are just enthralled. Okay. Even though they don't perform the album, The Lamb That's Down on Broadway in its entirety, I do believe that they picked the songs that would best fit for this performance. And they go wonderful together. They segue wonderfully into one another. They leave the stage, they come back for one of two encores, and they segue into, after the introduction from Steve Hackett, they go into Dancing with the Moonlit Night at 8 minutes and 28 seconds. Beautifully done. Amazing vocals done by Nat Sylvan. And then they go into Cinema Show at 11 minutes and 3 seconds. Beautifully done. Just wonderful. And Nat, Nat Sylvan hits the notes as beautifully as he can do. Just wonderful. Just amazing. Amazing. They do Isle of Plenty at 1 minute and 34 seconds. Up next is a 10-minute, 14-second version of Firth the Fifth with wonderful keyboard work done by Roger King and a meticulous, immaculate guitar solo done by Steve Hackett. I've always loved Steve Hackett's tone on this track. His guitar tone is beautiful. And you know what? It's wonderful. Again, I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is flawless. This is just beautiful. They leave, they come back for the final encore. it starts off with a beautiful drum solo by Craig Blundell, just wonderfully done. And you know, you just know that it's going to end at some point, and they're going to count one, two, three, and go into Los Endos from A Trick of the Tail. A beautifully done version of this track at 12 minutes and 53 seconds. Amazing. The band are on fire, the audience are into it, and it's just wonderful. It is immaculate in terms of the performance. It is beautifully done. A little segue here and there from not exactly sorry as you hear it on the album version, but there's a bit of a of an improv section where the band are going nuts, almost like it almost looks like chaos and anarchy is breaking out on stage in terms of the music that they're playing, with guitar solos and stuff. They stop and then they go back into the ending of the track, and again the audience are just on their feet. Okay, that is the end of the show. It ends with Los Angeles track 24. On the Blu-ray version, there is an extra section of an interview done with Steve Hackett, clocking in at 23 minutes and 19 seconds. Now, during this interview, he talks about the fact that he felt that this band or this version of the band, was by far the best he's ever worked with. And although they had taken the show to places like, in Europe, places like, uh, Italy and Spain, he felt that the Royal Albert show was by far the best, stating that it's a classic venue that Genesis never got a chance to perform at the Royal Albert Hall while he was in the band, but that he felt that this was to be one of the best shows that they'd ever done. And he said that he was quite nervous the morning of the show, if he was going to be able to pull it off, if the band were going to be able to do it. And he felt that the band were at their most relaxed. Maybe a couple of flubs here and there that obviously, not knowing music, I couldn't tell. But he felt that overall the band did a wonderful performance. Now, I have here the show it to you really quickly. The double CD Blu-ray Digipack version of the release. There you go. And I will quickly show it to you. Again, forgive my stubby hands. But you have it, it lays out like this. It unfolds like such, where you have all the information of who played and all the technical information. And you also have, as I show you again, you have a blurb, a paragraph from Steve Hackett on the performance. Forgive my stubby fingers. And this version, again, is the double disc Blu-ray Digipack version of the release. There you have it. And all of the discs rest in the trays comfortably. There you go. I gotta tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I was pleasantly surprised with this release and the sound, the quality of the performance, and the musicianship of the band. Um, to me, um, it was more than what I expected it to be. It is simply fantastic. The band are on fire. The audience, you know, being an older audience too, are into it, and the standing ovations that they give the band are just fantastic. So there you have it, guys. You can get this on Amazon too. I got it for 35.95 when I pre-ordered it. It's at like between 38 to $40 now on Amazon.ca. You can also get it on Amazon.com, Amazon.co.uk, on Discogs at this point, and on eBay as well. So that's it for now. If you know of this album and you've listened to it, please put your comments of the album down below. And yeah, this is a fantastic release. If you want to get lost in some classic Genesis, performed meticulously and just with a lot of heart and emotion, this album is for you. So again, check it out. And when you do, please let me know what you think of the album down below in the comments. Please click like and subscribe, and do hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content I've got coming up. I've got more shows coming up with Jim Bricker, Bill Schuster, Ken Cheshire, and Sagosh, and we're going to get those shows to you as quickly as we possibly can. All right? Talk to you soon. Have a good day. Take care of yourselves and one another. Bye for now.